Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines. Freedom of speech. We told you it doesn't exist on social media. Today, we're going to prove it to you. This is why we have the Freedom Zone. And then spot Bitcoin ETFs. Could we see a rug pull? We're going to talk about it. There's very real information out here to be concerned. And how about the catalyst that could shatter the hype cycles of crypto, as Monica Long has said for 2024? I think we're going to look at one of that catalysts today. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content. Right now, it's $1.73 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is off by 0.8%, but it wants to hit $2 trillion, doesn't it? You can feel the push, that wave, that wall of money that wants to come into this space. 43,800 plus for Bitcoin right now, 2,200 plus for Ethereum, and it's 93.5 billion plus market cap for Tether. And number 6 spot is XRP at 56 cents. We're up 0.3 on the 24-hour and 8.7 off on the 7-day. Let's go ahead and look at the range of price very quickly. We do have a chart for you to see today, but we're ranging between about 2 cents and sitting smack dab in the middle. Let's get started, and it's right here. This is linked to, ladies and gentlemen, and I tell you something, with over 627,000 registered users and 49 companies available on this platform. And I don't mind saying that all of these companies are remarkable. So whether you want exposure to private equity on artificial intelligence, fintech, blockchain, you name it, they got it. All you have to do is go sign up and register and get started. They have the most affordable minimums on the planet when it comes to private equity. They have the best companies when it comes to private equity. If you don't believe me, click the link to the sponsor underneath the video to find out. It's absolutely true. Anyone can take advantage of it. You just got to get started and take action. That's how it works, right? All right, and then there's this. You're about to see why we created the Freedom Zone. Now, we all know that the largest XRP influencer, the GOAT himself, digital asset investor, was silenced on X for no reason and without warning. And it took moving mountains to get him back, but he made it happen. But I'll say this, it is not a problem that is gone. It is a problem that is still ever apparent. I want you to listen to a piece of this clip from Patrick Bet-David behind the scenes of the Patrick Bet-David podcast, Stream Glitches. This has never happened before. Take a listen.
So just want to give an update to everybody that watches PBD podcast as well as YouTube. Something happened today on the podcast. Have we ever experienced something like this before? Never something like this before. The crew's here. They're showing me. Brandon, why don't you show us the numbers? Because, you know, during the 2 hours, it was 340,000 people that tuned into the podcast to watch it with Alina Habba, Trump's lawyer. And we talked about a lot of different things. But Brandon, show what you see here with the chart.
So within 1 minute, we go from 19,000 down to 13,000.
Yeah.
Go from 20 down to 14.
Yeah.
And again, 19.
Those are sudden things that we've never experienced before.
Down to 17. And
Okay.
right now, it's only showing 2 minutes of the podcast on YouTube.
What do you mean 2 minutes of the podcast?
So it's on the thumbnail, it's showing 141. But when you click on the
So
video,
show us what you mean by that. So
click
here right now,
It only shows 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Click, it's only
Yeah.
2 minutes.
But
and
go
30.
pre-click. What does it show? So pre-click, it shows 141,
And then you click it, it's only 2 minutes and
25 seconds.
And our
So
stream never dropped in quality. We were at excellent the entire 2 hours.
it wasn't an internet thing. It wasn't a T1 line. Nothing that we're doing.
No.
Right. And what it was is if you go back here to the actual algorithm, let me just get that image up and open it here. And I can tell you, look, here's what you're seeing. See the drop-offs? See these huge swells and then the drop-off, huge swells, then the drop-off? It's very systematic. You can see it, right? Well, that's an algorithm. That's an algorithm squashing the content and the viewership, bumping them off and squeezing them out of the podcast. I've been victim to the same exact thing. And I know many other influencers that have been as well. This is why I tell you to join the Freedom Zone. Because ultimately, even though all the people are on YouTube, there will come a day. There will come a day when the masses will say no more. And they will begin to shift away from a platform that does this to everyone. To everyone. I do encourage you to join the Freedom Zone, and we have some great content in there today. You won't believe it. The tyranny in America and what's going on with the food supply, you won't believe it. We're going to show it to you. It's a global problem. Join us in the Freedom Zone. Click the link or go to digperspectives.com and join us there. On behalf of the Deaton Law Firm and Crypto Law US, I hereby declare Fox Business journalist Ellie Tarrant as Crypto Journalist of the Year. I believe she proved herself in 2023, and she is killing it to begin 2024, and she certainly is. And here is the post that was put up, and she says, I'm not saying this 11th hour comment letter from Better Markets will negatively impact an SEC government approval for a spot Bitcoin ETF. But it's definitely worth noting that SEC Chairman Gensler and the president of the CEO of Better Markets, Dennis Keller, are tight, and they served on Biden's presidential transition team together. Keller himself doesn't like crypto at all. Here are some past comments Keller has made about Gensler, the SEC, and the crypto industry. The crypto industry has no legitimate or social influence, useful purpose, and has a fundamental predatory business model. Constant attempts by some of the industries to evade rules and regulations in a level playing field are in for a rude awakening from a Gary Gensler SEC. On crypto, he also said, it's worse than a fantasy. It's a fraud on the public. When you're a predator like crypto and you can't win on the merits, you try to buy as many politicians as possible to push your special interest above the public interest. I do agree with that comment from Keller, but I think Keller left out the part that when you're buying things, I think Gary Gensler was one of the things that got bought. That's my personal opinion, Keller. Because it was his job to recognize the FTX debacle, not award him a broker-dealer's license, which makes him either complicit or incompetent. Neither one are great answers, so I'll let him choose. Or you. But understanding that we cannot put anything past Gary Gensler. We do run the risk of him coming out and doing something to try to stop all of this or delay it further. But remember, if he does, he runs a very real risk of the SEC being sanctioned by a judge from crypto. That's the risk here. And I guarantee you Gary Gensler is only considering that because he is absolutely looking for any angle he can to damage cryptocurrency moving forward. And meanwhile, there is a tricky little fine line here that's coming. You're going to hear Melton Demores here, and you're going to hear what she says about how the asset managers, and it's all about fees, baby.
Battleground that you think is coming?
The battleground, it's the battleground for all asset managers. Fees, baby. Fees, fees, fees. We're all about the fees.
And it's absolutely right. And the truth is there'll be a huge competition for fees once these things are approved. And now you have to start thinking, understanding that Gary Gensler is serving the legacy systems and not the regular investor on the street. He's serving Wall Street, baby. How much more will he do before he starts to damage the relationship with the very ones that he's protecting and setting up to win? Because it is all about fees, baby. They've never had access to sell this to their customers before. They approved these ETFs for Bitcoin, and it'll be one more signal that tells me we absolutely have some kind of a correction or a collapse coming to the traditional stock market. Bonds alike too. Grayscale adds XRP back into digital large cap fund. Oh, well, this is a couple things. One, we know XRP in and of itself is not a security. Number two, Grayscale sees because of that, it's a great reason to put it back in there. And then the other thing has to be they're obviously bullish on XRP in 2024. So am I. This is another retweet of the same thing here, but from Eleanor Tarrant right here. Following a quarterly rebalance, Grayscale has added XRP to its digital large cap fund, which seeks to provide investors with the exposure to large cap coverage of digital asset market. Yeah, they're seeing an upside. So am I. Here's where I'm seeing an upside too. Now, we know that President of Ripple, Monica Long, has expressed that she believes 2024, and I'm paraphrasing here, but it's accurate. 2024 in crypto will see the hype cycles of the booms and busts be trumped and squashed, busted, like never before in 2024 because of the demand from institutions and utility. Now, think what could be of the size and magnitude that could cause that to happen to where your normal cycle of booms and busts, of speculative booms and busts, are absolutely crushed based on the level of utility and demand from institutions. Well, here is the Chief Strategic Officer of Securrency. I want you to hear him talk because they were just recently acquired by the Depository Trust Clearing Corporation, which settles over $2 quadrillion worth of derivatives every year. Take a listen.
Systems and all the things you've been talking about in terms of security help them move more into the digital world.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in fact, that's a core focus for us. So we work with a lot of the largest institutions. What we're really, again, focused on is that kind of that deep infrastructure. And we recognize sort of early on that as these institutions look to make this transition, they're afraid of the complexity and also the disruption of the kind of the rip and replace. So we really sought to create technology that could interface with existing infrastructure and allow for an orderly sort of transition. And I think that's really important. I think the industry needs to really kind of embrace that concept that it's not either or, and you don't have to create a new world in which your digital assets live here and your traditional assets live here. We can bring that together seamlessly and allow for this transition because everything will move on these rails, as I said, in the next decade.
There you have it right there. Everything will move on these rails, as I said, in the next decade, right? This is remarkable, which means there has to be a lot of transition and work and tokenization and moving to these rails in short order. That's what that means. At least to me it does. And I tell you, again, Understanding Securrency was acquired and is now referred to as DTC, digital assets, because they're going to bring digital assets and the tokenization of traditional products together in all in one. That is the ultimate goal. And I believe that can serve as the catalyst to bust the hype and the booms and busts of the internet or of the crypto market cycle that we've seen today since Bitcoin's inception. I believe working with something like ISDA, the International Swaps and Derivative Association, as Ripple has joined, which DTC is a part of, right? Which just bought Securrency to bring all tokenization, crypto, digital assets, and traditional products together on the same rails before the next decade. Think of it for a moment. And the very fact that the DTC is moving to do this with traditional products and incorporate the digital assets that we know of today, that speaks heavily to me to what I shared with you about what I believe. If we see the spot Bitcoin ETFs approved, if I see stablecoin legislation get done in Q1 of 2024, as it's been said it may happen, and specifically, if I see that stablecoin bill allow for every bank and institution to create their own private stablecoin, I'll be convinced of a few things. One, we are going to see a correction or collapse in the traditional markets. And no better time to tokenize and move everything over than in a collapse. Never let a crisis go to waste. Right? And then if we see stablecoin legislation come out and it specifically allows for everyone to make a stablecoin themselves and back it, then I'll be convinced they already understand we're going to see a great level of hyperinflation to the U.S. dollar, the Federal Reserve note. And the stablecoin legislation, if laid out in that design fashion, allowing everyone, all banks, to create their own stablecoin, because nobody wants to hold anybody else's stablecoin. But it'd be a great new use case demand to soak up bonds and dollars in the world. If everyone's allowed to have a stablecoin and hyperinflation is a problem, you've created a new use case demand to soak up those bonds and dollars to deal with the spillover shocks of hyperinflation back here in the United States. Just a thought. We'll keep an eye on it, see if it develops. Meanwhile, why not trust the XRP ledger in Ripple? It has just successfully closed its 85 millionth ledger, making a significant achievement for this network's longevity and reliability. That's what's going on today. Now let's take a look at this chart. Eggrag Crypto says, watch yourself. XRP 500% first move. I love this. I love this for everybody here. And where are we at right now anyway? 57 cents. So we're at 57 cents. So let's do this. We're going to take a look at it. Let's see. $2.85. And that's just the first move. Who's upset about it? Not this guy. But that's 500% surge. It's just a start. You can see the chart below just shows a fraction of the massive surge that I believe marks the initial phase of our incredible journey. Just take a look at this chart here. You can see here. Before the break, before the crash, as you can see, this goes all the way back, right? You know, here and here and here. You see the trend lines, right? Where it broke, it dipped down below that trend line after it had 3 touches, which makes it a trend line. Then we have the dip down, and then it busted out. And that was amazing to watch that happen, that whole thing. It was just absolutely incredible to watch. And then again, when we saw it here in 21, right? $1.92, I believe it was. And now we're at this moment. How much longer before we see another projected moment? And could it be even higher than the 500% here that take us to $2.21? I don't know. I know we're all here for it, but I think we can all obviously feel that this year should be a pivotal year. And at least, at the very least, we should see the introduction of use case utility of these assets. And if we get the resolution to the last piece of the SEC versus Ripple case, then I would really look to see where the banks start to come in and take advantage of this, because they're not going to touch it until that is absolutely completely resolved. We understand that from bankers themselves, right? So that's where we are on this day. I hope you will join us in the Freedom Zone. We're going to share some incredible information today about the food supply, tyranny in America. It's going on a global level. It's certainly happening here. We're going to show you the evidence of it. No freedom of speech does not exist on social media platforms, but it does in the Freedom Zone. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. I'll catch all of you on the next one.